1 year later, I'm on the road to Otakuthon again. Will this year be better, or is my art just not for this crowd? Let's find out. This is going to be a much shorter vlog since it's mainly just going to be a comparison between last year and this year, so there aren't going to be any extended debriefs of each day, just summaries. Day 0 went about as well as you'd expect for an advanced setup day. Setup actually started earlier than what was outlined in our artist package, so my friends and I were able to get in sometime after 2 p.m. without having to wait in any lines to get in when setup actually started at 4 p.m. I will say, even though setup itself went without a hitch, something unpleasant happened to me when I went down to grab a snack at the convenience store downstairs after I finished setting up. So, I have my arms full of snacks and drinks, and I go to buy a drink from one of the dispensers. There's this guy that's hanging around the machine, and he's trying to chat me up. Normally, I entertain it because, hey, usually people who are trying to strike up conversations at cons are excited about the event and want to talk about it, and that's great. I love doing that too. But I learned very quickly that that wasn't going to be the topic of discussion. So the first thing that comes out of this grown-ass man's mouth is, "Hey, you Chinese?" And I immediately get that first alarm bell going off in my head. But I'm way too tired from setup to correct him. I'm Vietnamese, by the way. So I just say, yes. All while this is going on, I'm not even looking at the guy. I just want to get my drink and get the heck out. I've never been hit on in my life, and if I have, I probably didn't hear or gave zero shits. And this guy then says, "Hell yeah, I love Chinese girls. They were brought up right, you know? Polite, docile." And at that point, I'm one demeaning stereotype away from dumping my drink on this dude's head. So I just laugh awkwardly, grab my drink, and make a beeline for the cashier and the exit. I was so grossed out afterwards, and to be honest, it's not a great way to cap off an otherwise successful but tiring day. And I wish I could say that was the only unpleasant encounter with a guy, but I have one more that I'm going to share in a bit. Morning of day 1, my friends head to the convention center before me since they need to do some adjustments to their setup, so I head down to the mall that's connected to our hotel to grab some stuff for the day and also drinks for myself and said friends. I didn't get hit on this time, again, thank God, but I'm standing a few feet away from the drink fridges, looking for specific drinks that my friends requested, when this guy brushes past me, muttering a bunch of stuff under his breath, but I could very clearly hear him say as he passed me. I'm not shell-shocked as I am just utterly confused that I experienced 2 negative experiences with guys in the first 2 days of being in Montreal. Like, what the hell is happening? Thankfully, there weren't any other encounters like that afterwards, but I won't lie and say that those experiences didn't sour my experience a little, mainly towards being in the city and not the con itself. How day 1 actually went was great. It was so much better than last year, and I was almost worried I was going to sell out of my lanyards on day 1. It was comfortably busy, and I did 2 times better on Friday this year than I did last year. Though weirdly enough, Saturday was less busy than Friday. There were highs for sure, but in contrast to the steady sales I had throughout the day on Friday, there were a lot more dips. It didn't really bother me though, since it felt the same as Saturday last year, so I already had that experience. I'm gonna let vlogging me take over for the next bit to summarize the last 2 days, and then it's on to the summary of the whole weekend. Morning! Final day of Otakuthon. Sorry for not vlogging too much, mainly just because not a lot has changed this year in terms of like sales and stuff like that. I'm definitely in a better headspace in terms of like, well, I'm used to tabling here now, so I kind of know what to expect. I did expect some changes, and there definitely were some changes, but overall, like, just in terms of like profit, it's about the same. Friday was definitely a lot busier than Saturday, which is a little interesting because usually it's the other way around, but I guess people know that doing things like stamp rallies and stuff is better to do on the first day because those tend to sell out really quick. So in the process of doing that, they'll usually end up spending more. So that's probably the mindset as well. And I also think there was like a lot of concerts and stuff on yesterday, so people were probably spending a lot of time there as well. And it was also like unbearably hot yesterday. Today is a little bit better. It's cloudy, it's overcast, so it's not like unbearably hot as it's been this whole weekend. And I think in general temperature wise, I think I was doing worse last year than this year, but I mean, I've been behind here for most of the time, so I'm probably not the best judge of that because obviously I'm not constantly walking around, so it's probably a lot hotter out there than it is back here. But yeah, generally sales has been pretty much consistent. I'm hoping to at least make about the same as last year for this year. So I'm on track to meeting that. So we'll just see how today goes. But otherwise, my expectations were pretty much met
and I definitely am a little bit more positive, so I've been able to enjoy the con a bit more instead of just being like, oh, I didn't do as well as I wanted to, because I had that experience from last year. So yeah, I'm just gonna see how the rest of the day goes. The only different thing to do this year is that instead of staying an extra day just to relax, I am leaving back to Toronto the moment teardown happens, and then the moment everything's packed up, I'm out of here. So that's gonna be probably a bit very hectic, but I mean, it's gonna be good to be back back home after today. And I miss my parent a lot, so it'd be nice. It's gonna be nice to see him again when I get home. But it's gonna be around like midnight, but that's fine. Everything else has already been covered by the voiceover, so we'll just see how the rest of the day goes for Sunday, and then I'll probably do a shorter debrief when I get home. This vlog is definitely gonna be shorter than last year's.
Sunday felt as busy as Friday, which was a nice note to end on for Otakuthon. I rapid fired taking down my display, packed everything up, and I was out of there before 6 p.m. And then when we got back to Toronto sometime past midnight, I proceeded to pass the F out once my head hit my pillow. I unfortunately forgot to take footage of the artist alley because Sunday was pretty busy, but if you've been watching my other vlogs, layout-wise, they all start to look the same, so you're not really missing out. Overall, I had a much better experience this year than last year, mainly because I knew what to expect this time, so I didn't overestimate how well it was going to do. Like I mentioned before, I think that helped put me in a much better headspace, so I was in a better mood throughout the weekend, which made me enjoy the con more for what it was. Me and my friends also got to explore the city a bit more, like visiting Chinatown and exploring other places around our hotel, so I had a lot of fun there. For the con itself, in terms of what sold well compared to last year, Deltarune and In Stars in Time honestly carried me through this con, and it's a persistent pattern I'm noticing with my other summer cons. Which makes sense, we waited for however many years for Chapter 3 and 4, and those chapters gave us so much to chew on. And with Chapter 5 coming out next year, I think the momentum of Deltarune is only going to grow, so it makes me hopeful and inspired to make more art and fan merch for it. In Stars in Time is a slightly different case where the game came out like 2 years ago, but it was only until recently that the creator gave the okay for fan merch to be made. And ISAT is one of those fandoms that's smaller and niche, but has a very passionate following, and people want to buy merch to show off that love. I like to rank or tally up my bestsellers, so my 4th bestseller was my ISAT shaker. People really like it, and it seemed like more people preferred it over my singular charms of each character. My 3rd bestseller was the medium size of my Deltarune and Undertale print. This print has consistently sold well since the very beginning, and I honestly thought about making a new and separate Undertale and Deltarune prints because this print is kind of old, but if people still want it, I'll keep it in stock. 2nd bestseller was my Deltarune stained glass standees. I'm very proud of this thing, alongside the Weird Route version I made, and seeing people's reactions to it was very funny. And I've gotten so much wonderful praise for its design on Tumblr that I'm so thankful for, and I'm glad that's reflective of how many were sold. And unsurprisingly, my number 1 bestseller was my Tenna keychain. The love for this TV man is unparalleled, and I think it showed because there's tons of Tenna cosplayers. Apparently there was a whole squad of them on Sunday, and I wish I could have seen them. There are a lot of great Deltarune cosplayers, including some spoiler ones which you can only find on my Tumblr and Bluesky. Before I end this vlog, I want to talk about one weird request I got, and then a very sweet interaction I had. So, for the weird request, a dude comes up to my table and says, "Hey, I have $40 left, and I'm a gacha fan. If you want, can you make a mystery bag of your stuff that's worth about $40? I had to take a moment because huh? If you have $40 and clearly there are things of mine you want, why not just buy those things normally? Needless to say, I politely declined because I wasn't comfortable putting random merch of mine in a bag if it meant that there was a possibility that they weren't going to like what I put in there. And then what? Are they going to throw that stuff away? I don't want my merch, which I worked hard on, to end up being thrown away when it could have gone to someone who actually wanted it, you know? Thankfully, he was understanding about it, but in my opinion, I don't think anyone should put an artist on the spot like that. I'm sure they had harmless intentions, but if you want to gamble, look for mystery bags and blind bags that are already being offered. Now for the palette cleanser. If there's something that I absolutely adore about tabling, it's customers who take the time to strike up a conversation with you about your art or the fandom of the art. I especially love stories of people finding their significant others through fandoms because it's just really sweet and gives me hope that, I don't know, maybe something like that could happen to me because I've been pretty much single all my life. So it's nice to hear about people finding love through their shared interests. One couple who expressed that they love my art shared how much Undertale meant to them because it's what brought them together, and it was really cute to see one of them proudly showing off their wedding ring to me, and I couldn't help but soak in the happiness and positive energy that was radiating off of them. I had a moment where, to myself, I was like, damn, I want what they have. I wish them all the best, and I wish everyone who stopped by all the best too. Thank you so much for making Otakuthon a better event for me this year. Next up is Fan Expo, which, oh god, I'm both excited and scared for in terms of what that's going to be like, because I've never tabled it before, and there's going to be over twice as many people as I'm used to in terms of attendance numbers. But we'll see. I hope to see you there. Bye!